Can he swing from the web? No, he can't, cause he's a man. Look out, it is a Spider-Man. Alright, what's poppin', yo? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I did say I would be starting off going through the MCU from start to finish, and the MCU now includes the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, the 20th Century Fox movies, the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy, and I thought because these came out first, these were the things that started superhero movies getting really big, I would start with these ones, and these are the definition of my sort of childhood and my introduction to Spider-Man. I absolutely fucking adored these Spider-Man movies when I was younger. They were fucking incredible. So without any further delay, let's get into Spider-Man 1. So, Spider-Man 1 is a 2002 movie, which is an action sci-fi, which is 2 hours and 1 minute. It came out 1 year before I was born. I was 1 year too late to witness this masterpiece release in cinemas. So, it is a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, and 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 4.6 out of 5 on Amazon. You can watch this on YouTube, Google Play, Amazon Prime, or Now TV. When Peter Parker, a shy and awkward high schooler, is often bullied by people, including his best friend, his life changes when he is bitten by a genetically altered spider and gains spider powers. So, that's how the movie is said to go. But how it actually goes is, obviously, we have a little bit of an introduction to Peter's life. He's at school, and he's there, and, you know, he's just chilling at school, he's getting bullied, getting picked on. They go on this sort of class field trip, which shows us how shitty his life is, how bad he's treated, with him sort of falling over himself, getting bullied by the kids. He has glasses, he's quite skinny, he's quite weak, and no one really cares about him. He's quite smart, and anyway, they go on this field trip, and he gets bitten by a spider, and you know, he starts growing hairs out of his hands, which is a really fucking cool sequence, might I add, for him to climb up walls and shit. He makes his own Spider-Man suit, he makes his own suit to be Spider-Man, and he ditches the glasses because of that classic stereotype trope where he doesn't need glasses anymore. He's much cooler, he's much handsomer, and he just gained handsomeness. He got much prettier and handsomer because he took off these glasses. He's also really fucking jacked now for whatever reason. He just got jacked out of fucking nowhere, so he's now incredibly buff and he becomes Spider-Man. His best friend's dad is also doing experiments because, you know what, he's something of a scientist himself, and he's running for president, and he's played by William Dafoe, which is a fucking incredible Green Goblin, might I add. A perfect casting, if I might add. And we see this duality through him throughout this entire movie, of him sort of terrorizing the city and Spider-Man, learning how to use his powers and learning to stop him. And, you know, Uncle Ben does die. You know, he has to get gone. It's a Spider-Man movie. Uncle Ben has to fucking get out of here. So we have that dramatic sort of Uncle Ben death. The Spider-Man sort of is like, oh no, Uncle Ben died. And he goes up and he basically fights. He fights Green Goblin, and he wins because Green Goblin impales himself with his glider. And that's pretty much the story. So, I'm gonna be honest, the CGI in this is fucking dog shit. It's not as cool as I remembered. The CGI is fucking ass. You can clearly tell it's CGI. For the time, for 2002, is probably fucking excellent. Again, I wasn't alive for that time, so I personally don't know. But, you know, it probably was good for the time. Probably the best they could do. This is like a big budget movie. The Spider-Man suit is so iconic. We got so many good memes, so many good voice lines from this movie, which is still being used on TikTok to this day. So they're still influencing the next 2 generations, I do believe, from when this movie did come out. And it is the iconic line of, you chose the path of the hero. They found you amusing for a while. That fucking hits so hard. We also have pizza time, and We have I'm Something of a Scientist Myself, which is used for so many things nowadays. It is just such good, like, memeable content, and it is obviously adult actors playing, like, teenage characters, so it is really fucking weird. Gonna be honest, to see, like, a 30-year-old, 20-year-old, however old Tobey Maguire is here, looks like he's in his sort of, like, late 20s, early 30s here, playing Spider-Man, and that's just weird to me. Seeing a grown man play Spider-Man, it's a little strange, I'm gonna be honest. They get younger as we do go on, and I think he plays Spider-Man really well. He has, like, this really serious sort of tone to him. I don't think Tobey Maguire is a great Spider-Man. I don't think he's on it with the quips. He isn't there, he isn't as witty, and he isn't as sort of, like, charismatic as Andrew Garfield was. I think he was a pretty bad Peter Parker as well, but he is the one that started it all. He is the one that set the trend. He is like the baseline, and you can only really go up from here. There is really no going down. This is like the baseline, the sort of, you know, like, standard for superhero movies. He really set the sort of status quo. He really set the sort of bar and sort of started the train going, because we didn't really have superhero movies before this. This is like the biggest one, the one that really took off and, like, brought into the X-Men, brought in all this, that, the other, the Fantastic Four, and all this. It was, like, really the dawn of superhero movies, and I'm gonna be honest, it was new, it was fresh, it was something exciting, something that everyone adored, before it turned into, like, what it is now, just churning out the same shit over and over again with different characters. We have got to the point where it is superhero fatigue, and it's just churning out the same shit over and over and over again with, you know, the good guys winning, bad guys losing, like, you know, superhero this, superhero that, wow, a lot of green screen, a lot of CGI, and I kind of want to go back, I kind of want to watch this for the first time again, because watching this for the first time again, seeing that magic would be absolutely incredible. Like, getting to see great movies again for the first time, having that reaction would be really good. But I am not in a position where I can do that, because for whatever fucking reason, when I go to watch a movie, if I've seen, like, when I first see the first 2 minutes of it, that's it, my brain remembers the rest of the movie. So that's why I don't like watching, like, the same movies over and over again, because it does get repetitive, and my brain's like, oh, we've seen this. This is boring, I know what's happening, there's no shock value here. And there is very few films which I can sort of surpass that and be like, this movie's fucking goated, so I can watch it again and again. And unfortunately, this Spider-Man just didn't tickle that. I had great nostalgia for it going into it, but I kind of wish I left it to that nostalgia, because watching this again, it did not hit as hard as it did when I used to watch it as a kid. It is not as good as I remember it being. It is quite lackluster, and the effects are again very weak, very poor, and it is the first Spider-Man movie, it is the first, like, superhero movie, so I will forgive it for that aspect. It is iconic, and it does have loads of memeable moments, but it's alright. It's alright, it's not the best, acting is mediocre, everyone feels kind of, like, robotic, but everyone kind of feels that way in older movies. There's just, like, that style of acting that there was back then that just hits different, and acting has evolved. It just feels like acting back then was really not really a skill that people developed too much, because it kind of just felt all, like, monotone and dead, and I don't know, there was just no spark to it. There was no real sort of exciting emotion to most of it. I feel like most of this was quite just churned out. I don't know. It just doesn't have the magic which I remember it having, so I kind of think that's what's twisting my emotion a little bit. And I don't know. I think it's better than the second one, so and I do think it's still a good movie, and it is important because it did set the trend. So I am going to give it a solid, like, 7 out of 10. I feel like 7's a good one. 7's a good number. 7's solid. It's not, like, rewatchable, but it is still a good movie for what it actually offers you with, like, morals, like, good character arcs, decent sort of aesthetic, and it did set the trend, so it is iconic and it is important. But acting and effects wise, it's quite poor. Story wise, it's quite good. So 7 out of 10 I think fits quite well for this movie.